Bob was here saying he wanted to be the guy who speaks for it, but just what was your initial reaction when you heard that Draymond was suspended? Were you surprised, or do you go immediately into, okay, what do we do now kind of mode?
It was almost exactly that sequence. I was extremely surprised, and then immediately into, all right, what's next? How do we win the game? And so there's no time to spend, worrying about it or thinking about it or complaining about it. Doesn't matter. We know what the league decided to do, and we have to respond accordingly and go out there and go win the game.
The league statement, thanks, JD. The league statement said the suspension was based in part on Green's history of unsportsmanlike acts. What do you think about Draymond's history being a factor in the suspension?
Again, it's not anything that we can control. So, Draymond is incredibly competitive and passionate and fiery, and he's helped us win 4 championships. I've said it many times. We don't have a single championship here without Draymond Green, and that's the truth. So he's crossed the line over the years, and that's part of it. It's we will go to bat for Draymond and go to battle with him every day of the week.
Steve, how do your rotations kind of change now? I mean, more not pressure, but responsibility for Looney, of course, and maybe JaMychal, and how do you sort of deal with the absence? Yeah, I mean, the lack of size, we'll have to obviously address that, and it's there's a lot of different options in that regard when you talk about Kuminga and Lamb and J. Mike, and it's more than likely going to be a game where we play a lot of people, and we just have to just put our best foot forward, and I believe in our guys. I have no doubt we can go out there and get this done, and this is we've been in some difficult situations before. I guess maybe not down 2-0, but we've been down 3-1, which sounds worse. We've seen it all. So we've seen suspensions. We had a game last year in Memphis, I think, where Draymond was kicked out, the first half. So we understand that, like, you always have to be ready for stuff. Things happen, and you just prepare for that. The guys prepare for it all year by staying ready and pouncing on their opportunity when it comes.
The league also said, it wasn't just the stomp; it was the non-remorse. It was egging on the crowd. Tim asked Bob, and do you ever feel I want to help stop this, or just come on, Draymond, calm down? But Bob says, I'm not on the court, I'm not on the floor, I can't really do that. You are. Are there ever instances when you're just say, hey, Dre, we need you to calm down, take a beat? And was that an instance the other night in Sacramento?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to make much impact, though. Yeah. No, look, he's the ultimate competitor. He's the ultimate warrior, winner, whatever, however you want to call him, a champion. And everybody knows he's going to occasionally, tip over the edge, and his emotions get the best of him, and that's part of it. But there's no stopping, Draymond. You're not going to be able to put your arm around him and calm him down and say, okay, let's move forward from here. It doesn't work that way. But like I said, it's okay. We accept Draymond for who he is and what he stands for, and his competitiveness and his fire, because we feed on that, and that's what helps us win.
Steve, you said you were extremely surprised by what happened, and a lot of people seem to be in that same camp. Why were you extremely surprised that they made this move to suspend him?
I'd rather not elaborate just because it doesn't serve any purpose for me to go into any detail. So I was surprised, but we just have to move on and move on to the game. And I'll let everybody else, play judge and jury and decide. Well, at least judge maybe. The jury has already delivered its verdict, but I think with these kinds of things, you just move forward. It's important for us to understand the job, and our players they see that, and that's what we're focused on.
Steve, you mentioned that you guys have never been down 2-0, but when you've done the winning you guys have done over the past decade or so, seems to breed a confidence. Do you sense that with your guys that they still have their confidence as they kind of try to get through this uphill battle? Yeah,
100%. I will always have confidence in these guys, given their track record, given the experiences they've been through. I will always believe that we're going to win every series until we don't.
And you sense the same thing out of your guys, I'm asking?
Yeah.
I was saying, what was did you talk about it with the players before, with Draymond there? Did he talk with everybody?
Draymond was at practice, yeah. He addressed the team, and we spent a minute on it or so and then moved right into practice.
And do you flash back to the Cleveland suspension at all, or just what worked then or what didn't work then at all?
No, it doesn't factor in. Different team.
I'm assuming you can't shed too much light, but what kind of address did Draymond make to the team? What kind of message did he send?
That's private, yeah.
Steve, when you say no, Cleveland doesn't, the suspension 7 years ago doesn't play a factor, is it just because, I imagine it's got to resonate a little bit with Steph and Clay. Is it just that the team is so very different now? And also, do you have to, before you take the floor tomorrow, address like that mental component, that confidence component besides rotations and all that part?
Yeah, that's what we did today. We addressed our plan for tomorrow, our mentality, our thinking going into the game, our approach. That's what today's prep was about. And but the other stuff doesn't even enter my mind. It's so far in the past. I don't think about it.
And I know you guys play great here. How important is the fact that the suspension is coming at home, and I imagine your crowd might be a tiny bit fired up tomorrow night?
Crowd's going to be in it. We know that. We're excited to be home, and we have a great opportunity in front of us. So we're all looking forward to that.
Steve, basketball-wise, Draymond's such an initiator for you guys on offense. How does his absence maybe change Steph Curry as far as initiating or having the ball more in his hands in that kind of role?
Yeah, well, we've played without Draymond, quite a bit the last couple of years. This year, I think he played 73 games, so he played most of the season. Last year, he missed a good chunk of games. So we've played plenty of games without him, and guys understand how that factors into our strategy, into lineup combinations, into what we're trying to accomplish. So we'll be fine.
Yeah, and then I don't think Steph got a shot up until about 3.5 minutes into the third quarter. Obviously, they're being really physical with him. What are just kind of your thoughts on their defense and how to kind of get him going, I guess, shooting-wise?
Yeah, they're doing a good job. They're blitzing him with their centers and bringing Davion Mitchell in to hound him, and so they've got a good plan, and they're doing everything they can to slow him down, and of course, Steph being Steph, he's still able to do his thing. So, this is all part of every series. You go game to game, and you look at potential adjustments, actions you might run, matchups you might change, lineup combinations, substitution patterns, all that you look at and you adjust from game to game.
What was Jordan's status in practice today, and how's that ankle?
He was fine. I was really proud of him for playing the other night. His ankle was really swollen. It was not pretty, but he gutted it out, and I know it wasn't a great game for him, but just his effort and his approach and his attitude was fantastic. And I think, I think he will be rewarded for the way he's handled, these last few days. I mean, he didn't do anything that was unsafe. The training staff approved him playing, but frankly, a lot of people wouldn't have played. And I have a lot of faith in Jordan and his approach.
Draymond is your defensive anchor, so there's going to be a heavier burden on some of the other guys. What does that mean in particular for Kevon Looney to be a communicator, to let people know where they should be, and for Kevon to be an aggressor?
Yeah, I mean, Loon has played much of this series without Draymond. We start them together, obviously, but then they have alternated, so it won't be that different for Loon. I think the biggest thing for us is to rebound. Without Draymond, at the point of attack, with a lot of their pick and roll stuff, we've got to definitely do as good a job as possible with pick and roll coverage, but to finish the possession with a rebound is something we haven't done well in this series, and that's what we have to do.
Steve, the other night when we talked to you on Monday night, you said you hadn't really seen the play with Sabonis, and I was just wondering, since you have seen it probably many times, what was your thought on the way that play transpired?
No comment.
After last game, I asked you about just the pace and quickness that this series has been played with. You had other things to think about then, but I mean, you guys are a team that usually does really thrive in playing in transition, scoring in transition. I know that's been a little more of a struggle so far this series. Just what are you seeing from your guys on that end, on offense in transition, but then also what the Kings have been able to do in transition, especially capitalizing off of your turnovers?
Yeah, well, it all goes hand in hand. Still the greatest basketball quote of all time is John Wooden, "Be quick but don't hurry." It summarizes everything about the game, and that's what we need to think about. Our guys have been in a hurry. We showed them a lot of the turnovers from game 2, and frankly, most of them were unforced, and most of them happened because we're in a rush to make a play. And the game is, it's very similar to other sports. Guys not open, quarterback, dump it off. In soccer, if you're getting ready to make a cross, you don't have a teammate in front of the goal. There's 5 defenders. Play it back out. It's just making sound decisions and simple decisions and not forcing the issue. And that's been the main problem. And of course, that feeds into their transition. They've had a bunch of pick 6 turnovers where we're making bad decisions. So slowing down just a tad will, I think, give us better decision making, and with that comes better transition defense because you're executing better on offense.